The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to grab our shapes selection over here, which for some reason was being a little on the slow side. Okay, so let's go for a rounded rectangle, and let's see size here. So we need to think about the size that we want it once it's folded in half. So if you want that to be 10 centimetres once it's folded, then obviously that needs to be sorry, if you want it set to 10, it needs to be set to 20, obviously. Okay then, and I'm going to just unlock that and make that 15 because I don't like it to have all the different, yeah, what's the word I'm looking for? Decimals? Yes. So now we've got that there. So option 1 is we're going to go back into our shapes menu, and if you have shapes, if you have Cricut Access and you have access to shapes, then you can go ahead and have a little look for something that you would like. So let's say, I don't know, let's look for a tree. Alright, and we're going to change that to operation type cut only, because obviously that's what we want to do. Okay, come on, give me some previews here. Right, let's have a little look and see if we can find something that's kind of cool. Obviously you can use a Christmas tree if it's Christmas and you want to make Christmas trees. Oh, that's fine, we'll use that. Excuse me. Okay. Okay, so if you struggle to find where your centre point is, an easy way to do it is to grab yourself another square, change it to a completely different colour, and then if you put it over here, set it to the half the width, which obviously if this is 20 you want that set to 10. We're going to uncheck that, make that 15, and then if we just slide that on top of there, we know that we're within our halfway mark. So we'll just put our tree on the front, so now you can see really clearly, so you don't risk going over the edges of the fold lines and, you know, off the edges of the frame. And what you can do then to make sure it's centered is if you select the white and your tree and align, not arrange, Becca, align, set that to center, that will now sit nicely in exactly the right place. So now you can get rid of your white square, you don't need that anymore. So we're now going to put a line, a score line, and we're going to make it just over the height of our card, and then we're going to select the line and the grey rectangle, and we're going to have it centered. So again, now you've got that nice mark there and you know that everything's cool. Obviously you can use that to create a centre point anyway, but if you've got the extra rectangle, and then you can centre your design with it, which you can't do with just the score line and stuff, so it's still easier to do your white rectangle or, you know, different coloured rectangle, and then that's just your score line. So your line should be set up here to score, and then what we're going to do is we're going to select your tree and your base rectangle, and we're going to slice it. Okay, so we're now going to get rid of these. You don't need any of those, that's all you need. And we're going to send that to the front. Okay, so now that will cut that shape out of your card, but what you need to do is just attach your score line to your card, because if you don't do that, it will put your score line on a different mat. So I'm going to go ahead now, click on make it. I'm using the heavy craft card, and as I think I've said to you before, if you know what size your card is and you want to make sure that you're not going to go over it in any way, just set your material size there. If you wanted to make multiple copies, obviously you do that up there, you don't need to duplicate it on your mat, we've covered that before. And then I'm going to continue that. Obviously it's going to find my machine, and then because I'm using the craft card, I'm going to set that to heavy cardstock, and I need to load my scoring wheel into Clamp B. If you don't have the wheel, if you just have the stylus, just edit tools and just select scoring stylus. Okay, I've got the single scoring wheel, so I'm going to put that one in. So I've loaded my mat on. Alright, so here we've got the cutout on the mat, and I'm just going to remove the outside trim because I don't need that bit. And then remember to fold the mat, not your card, because it will just make it all bendy and horrible. So just very, very carefully tease that off of there, because you don't want it to split or rip. There we go. So now, by doing it that way, you see your card stays completely flat. If you do it off the mat, it will just come like this, and it's a pain in the bum. So we're now just going to extract the shape, and we're just going to be, again, ever so careful for two reasons. One, obviously, you don't want to tear the design that you've just lovingly cut into your card, but also, oh, that one's trying to go, don't you dare. We now have another shape, like a die cut effectively, that we can use somewhere else in the project, or you know, just put it aside for a different project. But now you have this, and you've got your lovely score line already made, so you can just go ahead and fold along there. And then you've got a couple of choices really. You could where are we? Oh dear. You could put some coloured card behind it, like a complementary colour, cut that out. Excuse me, you could use acetate sheet or anything like that, you know, behind it. I've got these small laminating pouches. You could take half of one of those and put that behind it. Obviously just cut it down and then just glue that onto it so that you can still see inside, and you can create a pocket just by cutting that out. So you know, you've got options there. And I believe here I have one of these most amazing glue pens. I don't know if this one's actually functioning or if it's run out. We'll find out in a second. But a good way to get something that's got fine detail like this is to just go over it with one of the glue pens, and just kind of dot it around, and that will just help it to stay fixed. If you get as much of that middle done as you can before it dries, you only need a little bit here and there. Obviously it's just enough to stop it from lifting off and being ridiculous. Oops, stick it to my finger, that's always the best idea, isn't it? Yeah. These little glue pens are absolutely fantastic for things like this, for detail gluing, where you don't want to try and go at it, even with like a fine nozzle glue dispenser bottle like the ones I normally use, they still put a bit too much glue on. So instead, something like this just works so much better. So I'll just pop that on there. All right then. So now that's your piece of acetate stuck to that. And then we're just going to grab some glue. Now, obviously you have a choice at this point as to whether or not you want it to be a top opening pocket or a side opening pocket. I'm going to do this one as a side opening pocket. At least I will when my glue decides it wants to join in the party. because obviously whenever I go to do a tutorial, my glue says, no, see, I don't really fancy that today. If it's all the same to you, it's not all the same, is it? Because I need you to work. Right, there we go. So we'll just pop that down and give that a second. Then, as you can see, we will end up with a nice little pocket to put things in. I'll just make sure that's properly down, really. Didn't really give that long enough, did I? Let's get the lid back on that glue pen. If you've got the glue pens, store them upside down, because then they don't dry out so much. Okay, let's put that back over there. Right, we should be dry enough now to not pop this out. We can pop that in there. It's a little bit tight, that one, but yeah, there you go. So that is how you make a cutout pocket on your Cricut. It's very easy, as you can see, and you do get the added bonus of getting an extra little bit to play with in a different project, obviously, or the same one. So I really hope that you guys have enjoyed this, and I hope that you've learned something new to do with your Cricut for your junk journaling. And obviously you can put so many different designs on this, you know, you can go nuts, and you can mass make them as well, which is fantastic. Stick them in Happy Mail, you know, keep a stock just for your own journals. So it's a very useful feature, very useful thing that you can do. So yeah, I hope that it's been helpful to you, and if it has, if you could just drop me a comment, throw a like on the video, I would absolutely love that if you would put a thumbs up on that for me, and I will see you in the next episode of the Cricut series. Take care, guys.